Now the second category, and the third category, is small business, self-employed, and business owner investor. For these categories, it takes a special type of person, because in these categories you actually have to leave the security and safety of employee status and venture out on your own into a situation where you will have the stress of making it go. There's a very small percentage of people that are cut out to do this, and although it looks glamorous and looks wonderful, there's a pretty high failure rate, because there's a lot of people that cash out their 401ks and cash out their assets and launch out into a business or a franchise and fall flat on their face. So the first thing we have to evaluate before we decide to acquire this as an income producing asset is your level of passion. Because if you don't have passion to do this, it's not going to happen. And the way that you can evaluate passion, there's two categories. One is that you just have this burning desire to do it. And no matter what it is, that's all you sleep, eat, and think about, is this burning desire to do this particular thing. The other way that you can develop passion is that you just have this desire to correct an injustice. You've seen some kind of injustice that's happened in society, and you want to fix that injustice, and you're going to get into a small business, and the purpose of that business is to correct an injustice. These are the two types of passion and the passion levels you need in order to succeed in this environment, because this is a very stressful environment to move into, and a lot of times if you don't have the passion, you'll just kind of falter and give up. The second thing that you need to evaluate is your risk tolerance. There is a certain amount of risk in leaving a secure job and going into self-employment. You need to be able to decide whether or not you and your family are up for it, and whether you really are willing to take that kind of a risk to move out into this category. The third is something that a lot of people with a lot of passion overlook, and that's education and experience. A lot of people have a lot of passion to move out into small business, but they really don't have the proper education to do it, and they really don't have the experience for it. And a really good book in this line is called E-Myth, from an author named Gerber. And in that particular book, they talk about a person who has this wonderful ability to bake pies, and is just an excellent pie baker, but she has no skills or ability to operate a pie store, or especially multiple stores. And that completely takes a totally separate skill set. So you need to evaluate whether or not you have the management skills to manage a small business, or whether you just have the passion to actually do the work of the small business and not the skills and passion to actually operate a small business. The third would involve experience. A lot of things look really good, but when you get into it, you'll find out they're not always what you expect they are. I mean, you can look at detective shows on TV and the CSIs and all these things and say, oh, this is glamorous and everybody is beautiful and there's all kinds of danger, but you never get hurt, and there's no real grunt work at all. And then if you were to actually move into this type of career without the appropriate experience, you would find out the drudgery and all the hours and hours and weeks and months of a very frustrating activity that oftentimes leads to nowhere. So don't just look at the glamour side of things. Actually get some experience. Apprentice out there. Actually go out there and do some research and talk to people that are doing it to get the real story of exactly what it is, because small business and business ownership is not particularly an easy thing to move into, and that's why you have to have that passion to get you through the rough spots. The last factor for this type of income-producing asset is the world economy impact. And when we talk about the world economy impact, is you need to make sure that your small business is not one that's subject to outsourcing. And there's a good book called The Earth is Flat that has been written that discusses that we are really part of a global society, and that a lot of tasks are very susceptible due to the internet to be outsourced to lower labor cost situations. And I know the people in the unions are not too happy about that, but because of the internet, it's very, very easy for services to move to the lowest cost provider as long as you can hold the quality. And so you need to evaluate your small business or what business ownership to make sure that your particular niche and your particular business is not subject to being outsourced. So these are the factors, and we've designed an entire separate set of modules for small business and business ownership and business investors that is a completely separate subscription site, and it's available through newsuccesspath.com for you to move in that direction and to do research in that direction. So that's pretty much the third step. You're on your way, you're acquiring income producing assets, and of course when you get to the place where you have enough income producing assets to equal your current salary, then by definition you're financially independent. You can quit your job. So that would be the ultimate goal, to be able to just do your job because you want to do your job and not because you need the paycheck. So that's the three-step process. Anchor your financial position, develop a cash flow engine, and then apply the cash flow engine to get rid of your debt, and then finally to acquire income producing assets so that you can be a happy, healthy, productive family unit.